Hey there, I'm Amy Connell. Welcome to Graced Health, the podcast for women who want simple and grace-filled ways to take care of themselves and enjoy a little chocolate. I'm a certified personal trainer and nutrition coach who wants you to know your eating, movement, and body don't have to be perfect. You just need to be able to do what you're called to do. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I have felt like this year has been extra noisy right around the holidays. Noisy in the terms of getting a lot of top 10 lists of things you should buy and best gifts and just all of these things. And there's definitely a time and a place for that. And quite honestly, the end of the year when we're kind of searching for things and ideas is a great time and place. But for me, it's just felt very noisy. It's felt a little chaotic. And I've just kind of been withdrawing myself from that. I think if I was a better online, I don't know even what you call myself, but if I did better marketing for my stuff, you would have been hearing more about me of like, hey, I've got a book. You can buy it if you want. And I probably would have been a little bit more enthusiastic about it. Or, hey, I've got this really great program called B.COMPLETE that makes you feel really good. And yes, I absolutely do put those things into my podcast episodes because I feel they offer you value. And I feel like this is something that will complement and or enhance your life. But I just haven't really felt like doing a whole lot of big year-end like things and stuff. What I wanted to do though is give us an opportunity to do some simple, achievable, mini, and when I say mini, I mean M-I-N-I, not many with M-A-N-Y, because sometimes I think my accent can get a little confusing, but just some simple things to do to enhance our last 10 days of the year, or whenever you're listening to this. If you might be listening to this in July, because I have people listening to my episodes all the time. And so just for the next 10 days. So these are just 10 small challenges for you to focus on your physical, your spiritual, and your mental health. These are things that are very achievable. And I'm also going to tell you that I am I haven't yet created it when I record this yet, but I plan on creating just a little printout that if you want to check them all off, because sometimes I forget things, it's just a free download, though that will be available. So click the link in the show notes. Since I haven't done it yet, I don't know where to tell you to go. This is terrible. Again, if I was a better online marketer, I would have all of that. However, if you receive my emails every Tuesday of when episodes drop, then you will have this in your email. So if you haven't opened it, go check it out. And if you want to, look in the show notes and I will show you exactly how to get this free download if you want to take, if you just want to challenge yourself of how many of these can you do. So I just want to go ahead and jump in. I will tell you a lot of these have been inspired by conversations I've had, particularly throughout season 15, which started back in September. I just have had such rich, thought-provoking conversations. And I thought, this is probably something for us to go back and listen to. So if you haven't listened to the specific episodes I've talked about, there will also be a link for the full show notes. This is a full-on blog on my website as well. So I will have links to everything there. Let's go ahead and dig into 10 simple mini challenges for your last 10 days of the year. Number 1, take a recovery day. And by recovery day, I mean like from working out. And you know what? Take one. Take more than one if you need it. If you're like me, you may be battling two things. Number 1, you are fairly disciplined with your workouts and maybe you are, fatigued or sore. And in my case, I'm just kind of a little bored with them. And 2, if you are like many of the women I speak with, then you tell yourself you have to work out every day or else you gain weight or lose your goals or feel crazy or fill in the blank, whatever it is. Like, you know what it is. I have to work out every day because that's how a lot of us came up through the ranks of exercise, me included. Let me assure you, None of these will happen. I promise. I promise. You will not gain weight. Your goals will still be there. You can still meet your goals. And as I discussed with Dr. Tug Cargbo on last week's episode on recovery, it may even help you meet your goals. If your brain, now let's talk about I'll go crazy, I'll feel crazy. So if your brain begs for movement every day, I do understand that. I honor that. And yes, move. Okay. So I'm not saying don't move at all if you know that not doing that will kind of get in your head in a little bit, but move in a more gentle way. Maybe it's yoga or walking. And when I say walking, I mean parade pace, not race pace. Okay. Like you're just walking through just a parade, nice and gentle, that kind of thing. You can also do my signature program, B.COMPLETE. And yes, I will be doing a couple shameless plugs with that. And that's because I believe in it so strongly. I did it again this morning. It just feels so, so good. So in your recovery day, you are going to show your mind and your body that you respect them and you listen to them. And you can also show your fitness tracker, if you have a watch or whatever, that you have agency over yourself and you don't have to close your rings. It's okay if you don't. Nothing will change. I promise you. I know that's hard, but I promise. Number 2. Work out barefoot or exercise barefoot, particularly if you are inside. So you can knock 2 items off this list by engaging in a recovery workout and kicking off the kicks. So exercising barefoot has a lot of benefits. It can strengthen your balance, especially, this is especially important if you are over 40. It will give you greater proprioception, which is basically the awareness of the space that you're in. It will allow your ankle to move in a more natural way. There are so many benefits of walking and exercising barefoot. Now, I don't necessarily recommend that, if you're a runner, go run for 3 miles barefoot. I mean, I don't think anyone would do that. But if you are at home and pulling up a YouTube video with yoga, that's a great opportunity. Your feet are what I would call first responders when you trip, or if you get off balance, or if you accidentally step off of a curb. So when you go barefoot in doing these things that we just talked about, it helps your nervous system and it helps your brain, both of them, train your feet how to respond, because that way your feet and everything else that's connected to it, which is PS, your whole body, has been trained of when we get off balance, this is what we need to do. So it's really important that you give your feet that time to connect to the ground without a shoe, in between it. And then the other thing too, if you listened to the episode with Jen Lormond and Christina Walsh with Tighten Your Tinkler this second time here this season, they taught us that there is a direct line from your big toe to your pelvic floor, which was totally news to me. Our pelvic floor carries our center of gravity and is a strong component of our core. So again, you are taking care of your body in a holistic manner when you are without shoes. So depending on where you exercise, walking around barefoot may not be a total option, but you can go barefoot on a yoga mat while you practice active recovery. And by the way, just as a side note, if you are in the Northern Hemisphere, in the States and Canada, I know you are right smack in the middle of winter right now. Somewhere out there is a rule that says we do not have to have our toenails painted. And that is my rule. So toss your insecurities about naked toes off to the side. Don't worry about that. Just remove those shoes if you can. Jen recommends 30 minutes a day, which again is just about the time of an active recovery workout. Number 3, complete a B.COMPLETE, which yes, that's kind of a silly little pun on words or whatever. So as a 48-year-old woman and a 17-year fitness professional, I both know and feel the need to treat my body with care. It is evident with each passing year. Gone are the days of seeing how many minutes or even hours of exercise I can do in a day. Yes, I used to count the hours. Thank goodness I don't do that anymore. Now, if what I have learned is if I don't intentionally move in different directions and work on my balance and focus on these very non-sexy muscles like my gluteus medius and, just kind of these smaller things, I feel it because I'm not working all of my muscles and everything else. It's just a domino effect. I don't even know how to say it. I will hobble, my feet hurt, my hips hurt, I will ache. I find myself I'll kind of do that half second wake up in the middle of the night when I'm changing positions and I can feel my face wincing. And this is all when I'm not intentionally moving in different directions. This is one of the reasons I developed B.COMPLETE. It's a comprehensive complementary online class to however you like to move. I want you to enjoy your walking or your running or Zumba-ing or strength training or Pelotoning. I mean, what is it? Whatever it is, I want you to enjoy it. However, this is a complement that helps your body stretch in new ways so you can do what you love. I added this challenge in not because I want you to buy B.COMPLETE if you haven't yet already, but because I believe in it so strongly. I have talked to friends and she said, I have never moved my body in that way before. I promise you're just going to feel so good and you're going to feel so good in your body and then in your mind as well. And I will tell you that I practice what I preach and I do it myself once a week, at least. This week it was twice a week so far. So you can do it more than once a week, but I definitely recommend once a week. Number 4, go meatless and enjoy whole food plants only for one day. I know that's hard this time of year. If you find me at any kind of holiday party, I am enjoying the food because this is not stuff that I typically make. It's not stuff that I'm typically around and it's there. I enjoy it. I do not apologize for this. I'm learning to enjoy every bite, which also helps me or helps prevent me from overindulging. However, even during this season of special foods, of the things that I'm like, yes, this is so good, my body craves vibrant plants and fiber and citrus. And so what better way to provide your body balance? So yeah, go to the thing, go to the party, get all of that stuff, but balance it out with a day of eating only plants. This is not to correct what you have done. I want to be very, very clear about this. This is not a punishment. This is just an opportunity to help yourself, your body and your brain feel well because you are eating some more nutrient dense, like the small little things that all of the plants carry. Okay. So I want to be very, very clear about this. This is not a punishment for all of the things. It's just a balancing. And by the way, plants does not just mean vegetables. It means, it does mean vegetables, but it also means fruits and whole grains and nuts and seeds. And the more colors, the better. Occasionally over on my Graced Health Community Facebook group, we'll do some max plant challenges. And in fact, we did this just a couple of weeks ago, and we will see how many unique whole plants we can consume in 1 week. And those are kind of fun to do. And actually, sometimes people will list out what they've had. And I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about beets. I like beets and I never make them because nobody else at my house makes them. So just little things like that. But we just as a little group and noticing our changes, we've noticed that our energy levels rise. We sleep better. Bathroom time, a little more productive. So there's lots of benefits to this. So this is a great little mini challenge, just one day. And if you want to participate in this, I recommend you first just take stock of what you have in your fridge or pantry and then plan accordingly. Then go to the grocery store. So this will help avoid unused produce going bad. It'll set you up for an easy day. If you've got a lot of random vegetables in the in your vegetable crisper or whatever it's called, can you make a salad out of that? Can you make it into soup? So things like that, rather than like meal planning and doing all of this, and then you're going to have a whole bunch of extra romaines hanging around, whatever. So for example, if you have a bunch of chia seeds, then prep some chia pudding with it's 2 tablespoons of chia seeds, a cup of coconut milk or almond milk or dairy milk, whatever kind of milk you like, and put that in the refrigerator the night before, and then it's ready for you. If you have rolled oats, then you can make some overnight oats. I don't have a good recipe for you, but Pinterest does for sure. If you don't have any salad dressing, then just mix together some olive oil, like extra virgin olive oil, and some fresh lemon juice. And bonus, lemons count. Yes, they do. So, do that with some salt and pepper. So you can absolutely create a lot of things with probably stuff that you have at home in your refrigerator, in your freezer. I make all kinds of soups with frozen vegetables that are I don't know how long they've been sitting there, but by the time they get in a soup, they are just fine. And then as an added bonus, a plant-heavy diet, even just with one day, it has a ton of fiber, which is one of the key elements for, number one, fostering good bathroom time, but also for a healthy gut microbiome. It also may provide your brain with some of those key nutrients that are lost during all of the holiday festivities. So, baked brie, amazing, super delicious. It's not going to fuel your brain. And then, you might find that your mental health is not quite where it is. I'm not saying baked brie causes depression. Just let me be clear about that. But I'm just saying when we're not giving our brain the nutrients that it needs from vibrant foods, from, the foods that God gave us, then, this is a good time to just add a little bit more in. Number 5, stick with me here. Enjoy a holiday party, alcohol free. Don't go anywhere. Don't hear me out. Hear me out. I have no issue with alcohol. Okay. I enjoy wine. I enjoy other adult beverages. I typically don't overindulge, and I feel like I model responsible drinking in front of my kids. I hope they agree. However, the conversation that I had with Lori Massicott on the joyful benefits of sober living has just been reverberating in my head. It's just been in there. And then offline, because I often will stay connected with my guests because I just enjoy them so much. She had sent me a Huberman Lab podcast episode on what alcohol does to your body, brain, and health. And oh my goodness. First of all, if you're going to listen, you need, I think it's over 2 hours. His episodes, just as a side note, I've just recently discovered Huberman Lab, and he is a professor of neurobiology and ophthalmology at Stanford. I think it's at Stanford Medical School. His episodes are very research-based, very scientific. They make me go cross-eyed a little bit because there's so much biology in there, and that was not my strong suit. However, I really appreciate that he presents the research and the data to back it up, and it's not it's amoral. Like, it's not, oh, this is good, or you should do it, or you shouldn't do it. He just puts it out there and lets you decide what is best for you. But anyway, so just that conversation with her, just thought, like, I'm still trying to develop the language for it, but I decided that I wanted to see what holiday parties would look like without alcohol. And I have been kind of thinking about this episode for a while, and I thought, I think that this would be a good mini challenge, right? This is just one thing in the midst of all of the holiday festivities. And if I'm honest, I wanted to experience it myself before asking you to do it, because I just have always, if I go anywhere for something like that, as long as transportation is taken care of, like, I've got a glass of wine in my hand. So last week I drove to my husband's office holiday party, and I ordered a club soda with a lime 5 times. I drank a lot of them, and it was fine. Like, first of all, bonus, no Uber, no car service fees. Like, it was a lot cheaper. And you know what? Lori was right. Like, no one cared. No one asked me what I was drinking. No one asked why I wasn't drinking. I had no less fun than if I had had alcohol. And as a bonus, like I said, we could leave when we wanted and we saved money on transportation. And then I came home and bought some new clothes. So, there's that. But I have also, there's a little bit of a reasoning somewhat behind all of this. I have noticed recently alcohol impacting my mental health more and more. I mean, it just only needs to be a glass or maybe two. And the next day I'm fine physically. I can process it fine. I don't feel poorly, but I feel like I could just burst into tears at any moment. And I decided I would rather not anticipate the birth of Jesus in a state of like wanting to cry just for no reason. So, and by the way, in that Huberman Lab episode, he gives actually scientific reasoning for that. So if that happens to you, you're not alone. And there is definitely scientific reasoning behind that. Now, also, if this is kind of like, this might be interesting, over on the Graced Health Community Facebook group, in January, we are doing a month-long challenge where we are doing a dry January. So I'm going to switch it up a little bit and create a smaller group for those who are participating so everyone feels comfortable sharing their experiences, because every group has some stalkers and they're lovely stalkers. They just want to read and hear it, but they don't necessarily want to participate. And I want people to feel safe to talk without fear of like, well, who is watching this? Who is reading it? All that kind of stuff. So that group, by the way, it's zero cost to join. Head over there if you're interested. The link is in the show notes. Number 6, intentionally get some light therapy. Morgan Adams kicked off our amazing season in episode 1 in season 15. And she just offered a wealth of information to help our sleep quality and quantity. One of her lessons was the importance of getting outside within the first hour or two and getting 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight. If it's cloudy, you probably need a little bit more, but that will help set our circadian rhythm. And that way, when the sun goes down, our body knows that, oh, well, we've been in sunlight for a while because it was there early. And then it's ready to kick in that natural melatonin, which we all do make. Now, admittedly, like this is hard. If you are listening to this real time, this is dropping on December 20th, 2022. It is literally a day before the shortest day of the year. So I asked Morgan about that because actually we recorded this in June when the days are really long. And she said, well, a workaround for this is a Verilux Happy Light. So this is a UV free, so it's not going to give you skin cancer on your face or anything, but it's a UV free full spectrum light. It's a great alternative to getting those sun rays. It can help improve sleep. It can decrease those winter blues. I actually bought one for my husband because he has psoriatic arthritis. He has terrible sleep. And I just thought, this can't hurt. Let's just try it. Let's just give it a shot and try it. And he has noticed an improvement in his sleep and then also in his arthritis. And he said, normally by this time of the year, I'm like really wrecked inside. And he said, I don't feel that way this year. So just full disclosure, like they don't make the psoriatic arthritis claim, but we just thought, well, if sunlight helps in the summer, then maybe something like this would help in the winter. And it seems to be working. So again, something to consider. And I will have the link in the show notes and you can get it there. Number 7, choose a verb from the love chapter from 1 Corinthians 13, 4 through 8. So this is just a little small challenge that was inspired by Kim Sorrell, who was on the show earlier this season. And we talked about her book, Love Is, where she focused on one word or phrase at a time, just really seeking to understand its true meaning and how it could motivate all, like just her daily actions, her daily responses. And she took a full year to do this. So for now, here's your small challenge. Pick a word or a phrase from 1 Corinthians 13 and live it out for one day, like intentionally. And I recommend that you pick one that you will know will not be easy. Like make it a challenge, right? Like if you're a naturally really kind person, maybe don't choose kind. But if you're traveling, then maybe you choose patient. Or if you're going through a hard season with a loved one, maybe trust is yours to focus on. Or maybe like you have a family gathering coming up and you have a cousin who just seems to have everything go their way and everything is awesome and you don't feel the same. Well, maybe focus on the not envying. So, you know what you need and God knows what you need. And so you can just kind of go and say, hey, what one word do I need to focus on for one day? Or if you want to extend it out, one event. If you need a refresher on these words and phrases, here they are. I'm not going to list like the whole scripture, but here are the words and the phrases. Patient, kind, does not envy, does not boast, is not proud, does not dishonor others, not self-seeking, not easily angered, keeps no record of wrongs, does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth, protects, trusts, hopes, perseveres. So just pick one of those. Pick one that you think will actually be a challenge. We are actually going to expand on this and participate in Kim's 14-day love challenge in February over on the Facebook group. So if that sounds interesting to you, I mean, she gives a very specific guidance with that, with just each one of those 14 words, once a day for 14 days. So head over there. You can join there. Again, it's free if you want to participate. Number 8, take 3 deep breaths. Ooh, here's what we can do. We can do it right now. Day 1 done. Let's do it. I know that was weird. That was so weird and awkward. I might have to edit that out if it sounds really weird and awkward when I edit. But if you're like, okay, 3 deep breaths, what's the catch? Like, what? There's not a catch, I promise. Just take 3 deep belly breaths. And when you do, I want you to focus on filling up your belly, your stomach with air, because that is what expands your diaphragm. And that is what can help pull your nervous system down. When do you do these? Whenever you need them. So again, you got to drive this, but here's some ideas. Do it before a workout. We've talked some about pausing way back in the summer. I'll link to it in the show notes. Do it before you eat. If you'll remember my conversation with Elise Muselis on season 13, we talked some about doing that before you eat so your body will absorb the nutrients better. Do it when your crazy uncle starts discussing politics. And I don't know why uncles have they are the punching bag for hard family members. But apparently that's a thing. Do it first thing in the morning before you even get out of bed, or maybe when you sit up or sit down. Before you walk into a large family gathering, you're walking up to whomever's house, you're about ready to knock on the door, 3 breaths. Maybe you do it after said family gathering. You might need it then too. Maybe it's when you sit down for a prayer time. My quiet time comes first thing in the morning, and maybe it's just a nice way to center yourself. How about when you're sitting in traffic? Or when you sit down at work first thing in the morning? Before the shouts come, just pull yourself down. Maybe you do it after a workout to refocus for what's next. And maybe right after you turn out the light when you go to bed. So there's 10 options. There's 10 things to think about of when you can add those 3 deep belly breaths. Just find a few 15 seconds, a few times a day to do that deep belly breathing. It'll pull you out of that sympathetic nervous state, which is that fight or flight. It'll help regulate you. And there's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things going on, whether externally or internally inside of our head this time of year. So that's just a really easy way to approach it. Okay, number 9, do your seated shoulder retractions. What are seated shoulder retractions? I will tell you. I've put these on my Instagram account, a couple months ago. They might be the most simple thing you can do for your spine. So what you do is if you're standing, you can be standing too, by the way. So stand or sit, it doesn't matter, but just sit tall, stand tall. Take your arms out in front of you at shoulder height. You want to have slightly bent elbows. Grab one hand with the other. It doesn't matter. So whichever one just feels more comfortable for you. Then pull your shoulders back, which is retracting them, pull them back to squeeze your shoulder blades together. Hold for about 1 second, then release. So do this, I don't know. I mean, there's no formula, but I say 10 times, which is about 30 seconds. I told one of my closest friends about these, and she reached out a week later and she said, "You have done what no one has able to do and help my headaches." Because without even realizing it, she was just kind of hunched over. And she was also, when you strengthen those muscles up and down the spine, then it will help your spinal alignment. It will help your posture, and it helps just kind of right you back up. It kind of pulls everything up and gets your ears right over your shoulders. So these are super simple. I mean, sometimes it's like, how can this really be helpful? They're too simple, but they work. They work, I'm telling you. So do those shoulder retractions, seated or standing. This is what I would say. Do it first thing as you sit down at your computer, then do it right after lunch, and then do it at the end of the day before you drive home or before you go into the next phase of whatever it is. And that will just help kind of activate those muscles and remind your body like, hey, this is how we're supposed to be standing and sitting. And we don't always do it, but it's just nice little reminders. Number 10, be still time. Okay. Be still time. I'm going to explain what this is here in just a second, but this is another one of those things that are so simple, but or maybe it's just I don't take the time to do. So this is what be still time is. You go outside if possible. Otherwise, just find a nice, peaceful place in your house, sit with God, and be still. And that's it. You don't have to do a bunch of praises. You don't have to do a Bible study. You don't have to do prayers. You just sit in God's presence. I can't explain how or why, how calming it is and how centering it is, but it is. And this was inspired, I guess I would say, by that Psalm 46:10 verse that says, "Be still and know I am God." We did a Be Still challenge earlier this year over on the Facebook group, and the general feedback was like, gosh, I really needed this. And then the other one was, why don't I do it more often? And I say those exact same things. I will also tell you, if you are relatively new here, that it is the impetus of how I ended up doing all things Grace to Health. I am here because of what I now call Be Still time. So if you would like to hear more of that story, you can go way, way, way back to season 3, episode 7 on the episode called How I Heard from God Without Spending Time in Prayer or Worship. Okay, there are your 10 simple mini, M-I-N-I, challenges. I really hope you engage at least one of them. And if you're not sure, if you're like, I don't know, I'll do one of them, but I don't know which one, then I recommend the Be Still time. We all need a little bit more stillness and quiet in our life. Like I said, if you would like to try all of these, then I have created that free download. And if you're on my mailing list, it is in today's email. You can grab yours at the link, at the to be determined link in the show notes, and then just mark them off as you go. Tell us over on the Facebook group, if you're a part of there, how it's going, what you're doing, what you're learning. And who knows? who knows? Maybe you can get all 10 done over the next 10 days. Now, before we go, I do have a Christmas wish list. And there's one thing on that list from you if you could give gift to me. If you haven't already, could you please leave a rating and a review for this show? So this is for a couple reasons. It really helps show people that others like it, that they have value. It shows Apple that people are interested in this. And with the new year coming up, people are going to be looking for health and fitness podcasts to listen to. And I would love to give them one that is realistic, that is sustainable, that doesn't ask for crazy things. I'm proud of the content that we have on here, and I would love for other people to find value in it as well. I do recognize that it's kind of confusing. It's kind of confusing to leave a rating and a review on Apple Podcasts. And then specifically right now, I'm talking about Apple Podcasts. And in fact, I ran into a friend at a grocery store and she was like, I want to leave a review, but I can't figure it out. And I was like, oh, it's easy. Let me just show you. And then I couldn't figure it out. Like I'm sitting there fumbling through. So here's how you do it on Apple. In the bottom right-hand corner of your podcasts, tap the magnifying glass that says search. And then in the top bar, type in Graced Health, click on the show. And then you're going to scroll down a bit. You kind of have to go a little bit until you see ratings and reviews, because you'll go through like several episodes. It's just a little bit. Then you can click on the number of stars you'd like to offer. I mean, I would love it if you gave a 5, if that's authentic to you, but do what feels right. Then to write a review, scroll down just a bit more and look for write a review. Click on write a review. That will pull up the review form. And then you can leave your review. What I like to say is, just do 1 to 3 sentences. It doesn't have to be a full paragraph, just 1 to 3 sentences. Who is the show for? What have you learned? What do you like about it? Anything else? I mean, just anything that would show the value of that, and then hit send. And so I'm just going to thank you in advance for this little Christmas gift that you hopefully will be able to give me. Now, by the way, this episode is meant to accompany you for the next 10 days. But of course, you can take it into the new year. So again, if you're listening in July or March or October or any of the other months, you can absolutely do this. Now, I will say, for speaking of the next 10 days, and then kind of 10 days times 2, I am taking some time off to enjoy family and friends and Jesus. So I will be back on January 10th to start season 16. And I think I'm going to be right at 250 episodes. If not our first episode in January, it might be our second. So we are coming up on 250. Merry Christmas to all of you. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for listening to this show. I can't believe I'm getting a little emotional. I know you have a lot of options. There are 2 million podcasts out there. You have a lot of options, and it truly does mean so much to me that you share your time and your ears with me every week or whenever you tune in. It means a lot when you share it with your friends or say, oh my goodness, this was so perfect for my sister-in-law or my best friend, and you share that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I hope you have a wonderful holiday season. Be joyful. Be safe, and be still. That's all for today. Go out there and have a graced day.